And hello. Um, so this is sort of a video on how to improve on logistics, mainly riffing off of someone on Reddit asking how can I improve on my logistics, who provided 3 saves. So um, this video, in its initial form, is going to be a hard riff of we're just looking at the state of the 3 saves, and making suggestions on what can potentially be done to make the logistics better. Um, as much as some of the comments I've seen on Reddit are implying that things are going really, really badly, I think the last of the 3 saves I took one peek because I wanted to figure out which order they were supposed to be in, date-wise. The last of the saves is like 1.1% off of victory. So as much as the logistics are supposedly very bad in these saves, it does appear to be just good enough that the player is basically on the eve of victory. To the point where I would not imagine that there'd be too much difficulty with winning from the last save. So really we're going to be looking to see what we can do to make that smoother, not necessarily... Because sometimes you might decide to push your logistics a little bit too far, intentionally, just to push forward to a win. So this is the first of the 3 saves. This is when he was declared on. So one of his neighbors, one of the majors, is declared on him. So in this case, it looks like it's these guys, Republican faction. I don't, because I haven't been in here too long, I don't necessarily know which cabinets he has. Like a quick look at the cabinet overview. Supreme Council, Economic, Staff, Military, Model, and Applied Science. I probably would have delayed a little bit more in the Applied Science. Especially if you've got a Republican neighbor, because you can do diplomacy with them. And Applied Science is often a little unnecessary for the small planets like this. Oh, yeah, doubly. No point in getting Applied Science until you have applied access to applied chemistry and engineering. So he grabbed Applied Science too early. And he doesn't have the ability to do any diplomacy because he hasn't taken the diplomatic one. He's got a city way down here. He's got Taos. This is one of the comments that people have brought up that maybe this is too far away to make use of. He's got a bunch of colonists, which isn't necessarily a problem, but they should be getting used, especially if he's only getting 100 a turn. They should be getting used at that rate. He's got too many personnel not fielded. Let's look at the logistics. Current is flowing. Where is his capital? Here's his capital. Okay, so interesting. Hasn't... Oh no, he's at peace with the Republic. He's at war with the warmongers. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense from a border standpoint. Also means that his capital is very exposed. And then this is his current logistics usage, which is showing some signs of not... This is the current surplus in the logistics. So we can see he's basically got an surplus over here, which makes sense because he needs to push all the way out there. In fact, he's got a second SHQ over here, which is something I wouldn't have done. But then I wouldn't have tried to push out that far if I could have avoided it. It might be a scenario where no, because he couldn't have. Because he doesn't have Foreign Affairs Council. I'm going to figure out how we got this state. It's got economic, staff, military, model, and applied science. It doesn't look like he has the Foreign Affairs Counselor, so he didn't protectorate into him. That's interesting. Okay. So yeah, logistics are a bit tight, not necessarily unduly tight at this point. Used, we can see where the used one is, which is basically connection westward. And yeah, I probably wouldn't have, especially what we're seeing down here, we're having logistics all the way down to here. I might have not wanted to make that a second Supreme HQ, because I would have wanted all those supplies under one. I suspect that if that's the case, way to check this is what's the traffic signs looking like down here. 170, 180. Yeah, so this is a scenario where he really wants, at least for this road connection, I wouldn't have gone to SHQ if I could have gotten sealed roads. Does he have sealed roads? Does not have sealed roads. So I would have probably prioritized getting sealed roads earlier. And that's for the action point reason. We can see down here he's about capping the action point out. If you can transfer from regular roads, dirt roads, to sealed roads, your trucks will use about half the action points moving down them, so basically doubles their range. If this road was sealed, there's no reason for this to be a second SHQ. This is only a second SHQ because he doesn't have sealed roads, which is a bit of a shame that he doesn't, because that would help a lot of his logistics issues, I suspect. Let's see if we can look at bottlenecks, so we can see, yeah, he's got a bottleneck coming out of the SHQ. That makes sense, due to the difficulty of trying to push things westward. But even here, right, this bottleneck is not too much of a bottleneck yet. This is not, things are not getting delivered. This is. And then if we look at the SHQ, so SHQ to zone is the biggest place he's shortest on, and zone to SHQ. So it's probably he's having difficulty pushing out stuff through this bottleneck. And then again, we can look at the unit admin. This is current balance on administration settings. 40, 40, 30, or no, 30, 30, 20, 20. Okay. In theory, that means he probably could improve it just a little bit. What's the truck hub looking like in the capital? Level 1 truck hub. Okay, so that's another thing I would change. Wait. Capital's here. Do you have a truck hub on the capital? There is not a... Oh, you don't own the truck hub on the capital. Okay, so if you had more money, nationalize this truck hub. Right, we can see this truck hub as it is functioning really effective. Right, you're getting plus 50% modifier on it, but it only provides a base of 400. Whereas we can see one over here where he actually owns it. This one is 800, right? So simply nationalizing a truck hub doubles its effectiveness. Right, so we basically double that effectiveness, and that would help a lot. But he needs 500 credits for that. He's running a lot of mechanized forces. Mechanized forces can be effective, with one note. If you start having supply issues, while fuel doesn't cost supply to move, it is affected by your supply issues. So if you're only getting 80% of the supplies to the unit will only get 80% of its fuel. So if you start having supply issues, mechanized and motorized units get really bad real fast. This is why you usually want to use these as sort of like your specialized units, with a front line of regular militia, or regular infantry. And then from a logistics standpoint, a big cost on logistics, right, is every unit needs to be fed, so you have to ship them food. Units that are fighting have to be shipped ammunition as well. Thus, if you can sort of just body block with strong enough units that the enemy doesn't want to attack them, you can save a lot on munitions. He spent all his metal, which isn't great. What does he have ongoing for construction here? Biofuel refinery. Okay, that kind of makes sense because he's running mechanized forces. I'd put this off until you don't have metal problems. A bureaucratic office. Never a bad idea if you've got surplus materials to build up your bureaucracy, but we're out of metal. This was maybe over-investing in bureaucracy. Agricultural dome. Maybe doesn't need more food. One of the other comments was saying he's floating a lot of personnel. The personnel should be getting used. They shouldn't be being stacked up like this. And you have to feed everyone, right? It's for every 100 people, you have to feed them one food. So if you don't need the people, don't hire the people, so you don't have to feed the people. And he's building a truck station here, which isn't necessarily going to solve his problems, because his problems are here to like here, and not the rundown to here. He'd be better off trying to get sealed roads to do the distance, not build another truck station at the moment. That's sealing the roads would double the productivity. He's got a pile of industrial points here, so if he had sealed roads, he can rapidly invest that into improving his logistics here. What tech is he working on? Because he's discovered sealed roads. Orgs, eco, working on university. Yeah, no. This is an immediate. Call you up, research, sealed roads. This road needs to be sealed. And it's such a cost-effective improvement of the logistics. He's got no money, so a lot of the problems here are going to be hard to fix. He does want a couple brigades, probably brought up with light infantry, so like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. Just to cover the important front. He's not going to be able to cover all this front at this point. Have the units moved for the turn? It looks like most of them have. Plausibly. 2.8. Those are rotors, though, so they probably have supply there. Yeah, so in this case, there's nothing I can do other than changing that one tech. That one tech, once it gets implemented here, is probably likely to do quite a bit to help. Is this all... They only have 2 zones? Space management's maybe an easy way to check that. Assets, 2 zones, exactly 2 zones. Okay, so this is another thing you can do to help improve your income. Is that zones... Scavenging furnace not making any power. Oh, yeah, no, these, oh, okay. This one is too far away from those assets. If anything, it probably makes sense to move those assets to their own city, or run away from either of the cities. You should probably have a second city. So we got a truck station here. We got a truck station here. I'm just trying to build. No. Don't build a truck station next to your truck station. Council construction. You have one here. This should be controlled by this one to get it working. And once it's working, probably make it its own zone. Honestly, this wouldn't be a bad place for colony, so we're going to make a new zone here. As soon as we got the political power. There we go. And that's what we're going to do with this colonists.
Yes, sir. Right.
Got most of the colonists there. You can see all this is turned black, so we've just used up what's left of the logistics there. That's fine, because we're getting colonists off of the payroll. Yeah, what's under construction will finish. It's too late to kind of delay those too much. I do want more metal. Nothing I can really do, I think, right now to get more metal. Unless he's got a zone card sitting around appropriate for it. He's got a bunch of blue clouds, so let's... And we can't play friendship. Okay, we can play friendship with neutral people. Yeah, so we do really benefit from having a foreign affairs counselor if you wanted to put this war to sleep. This one's so far out of position, it's maybe not worth trying to garrison right now. I don't have any troops we can move on the capital, so we'll see if the capital holds over the intern. So we'll cycle the intern. And I don't think we need quite this many. Let's dump the excess recruits. I'm thinking I'm going to bring up like 3 brigades over the next couple turns, would be what I try to do if I have the metal. We'll see if he does have the metal. He probably doesn't. But the rest of the recruits need to get disbanded, so we stop feeding them. So what I did is dump them in the capital. There's more people in the capital. Because that gets them off the food budget. Cycle the turn and see how it implements. Yeah, that was what I was worried about. See, this guy's trying to break out, which is fine. And militia project, okay. It's gone something like Fist. Fist merit, probably. Oh, and we lost the road. So his logistic problems got worse, not better, over the intern. You get on the capital, because we need the capital. Body lock those. Okay, so at this point we're at least vaguely controlling the road. Oh, and militia over here was nice enough to spawn in. We do want to try, if we can, to control that road. So we want to spread out and control the road. Probably don't have the supply to carry any real attacks here. So we've done what we can with body blocking. We didn't get any metal over the intern because the road getting cut off probably stopped him from coming in. We lost the trade contact. Okay. Dump the rest of the colonists in the capital.
Affirmative.
So what has he been going with profile-wise? Apparently not Fist, even though he's getting Militia Project. Okay, so he's tried to go Fist and then fail and let it fall back into Heart. We're going to take the option here that doesn't piss off the leader.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Sabotage. We want to investigate. But we don't have a leader assigned yet. Let's appoint the governor first. What does he have for pool? Pretty bad pool.
Roger that.
And yeah, this is a role that's probably not going to work. Threat of war. Again, I think trying to keep things from swirling out of hand, we're going to give into that demand. And we're mostly Heart, so we'll go Heart. Okay, let's see if we can summon some money from the void. What is the money situation looking like? So fuel is mostly worthless, but it's not completely worthless. Rare metals are not worthless. So let's sell the rare metals. Let's sell the fuel.
Yes.
That gave us some money to work with. Give extra payment to workers, get workers to calm down. And then here, we're going to quickly... We now have the 500 money we want. Let's nationalize that truck host to increase throughput. Militia project.
Roger that.
I'll help us get some more militia to help cover the fronts. And then probably not to waste the political power, right? We just do private investments in the capital a couple times.
Roger that.
That'll hopefully help them get them to build up some more stuff in the capital that we can leech off of. What's the plausibility of buying metal? Two metal. We're not buying metal for 150 credits. That's just no. Neither of that machines. Okay. So we're not buying anything for the moment. And we might as well cycle another turn because we need to... we had the road cut off, so we had a metal issue. See if we can keep the road intact. Nope, the road got cut off again. Okay. Throwing a second road in here. Now that we've done what we can to hold that line. We're not really worried if they come around the right side. They're not going to get around far enough to get the road. And basically, because we lost the road again, a lot of our logistics is completely shot. Which is why logistics and roads and such are very important to get really early on. Okay, we do have some metal now. Really, we want to be raising infantry units. He has both guards and troops. What is the difference between his guards and troops? Models, infantry, high quality, low quality. There we go. So, we'd like to be just troops. So we need to get up to 165 metal to deploy in whole one of those. That's what we want to do. And we're gonna have to tackle another turn again because we need that logistics to actually flow. What's an erected statue? Heart's fine. Young Turks, you've mostly been enforcement of all things. Okay. Then we'll go hard. Keep hard up. And yeah, we're going to dump the political power here to try to mitigate the damage. And those supplies have been going out to troops, so we just got to cycle. Okay, roads in, roads working, supplies are flowing. No one's had any supplies for a turn, so nothing's going to work for a couple turns. We're just going to have to accept that. Salaries for leaders. This means he's modified his salaries. I wouldn't have done that. Not really worth fixing. There's the default ones are probably where you want to stay. It usually hurts more to lower them than to raise them. So at this point, I'm not going to change anything. We're just going to confirm because it's making them go up is going to make his money issues worse. And lowering them is going to make his opinion issues worse.
Affirmative.
Is he trying to research or is he trying to discover? So he's got all the important ones discovered here. Other than maybe combat armor, he's not really needing to look for anything. He probably wants to just research gospel arms. He's working on rocketry. Yeah, he's got everything he needs to discover besides the things. So we're going to want to be more biased than this. Far in favor to research. In Avalon, is it the capital? Avalon is the capital. Okay. Use a military force.
Affirmative.
Manage to succeed to keep in control because we actually have a garrison in the capital. Okay, we don't quite have the metal this turn. We probably have it on the next turn. Okay, we can sell fuel again to get more money.
Yes.
And he's got a massive pile of rare metals. They're rare, but they're valuable, so we'll get the money that way. Oh, I suppose I could have paid them off now that we've got that money. But we're gonna worry more about treasury issues. Actually, I probably have enough that we can go ahead and yeah, we can raise the brigade.
Affirmative.
Roger that. Roger that.
Trying to build a local economy so we can get more tax revenue.
Roger that.
Use those colonists. Okay, let's take one more turn. We don't need quite that many. What's our shortfall? 18. Where's those militia units? And a more competent militia unit as a side effect. And yeah, we now have supply, so let's see if with our improved supply we can break that pocket. Free up those troops to cover all the fronts. No dice. Taking too many losses.
We need more firepower, sir.
Maybe a couple turns of poking like that will work. Oh, those are friendly. Okay, so we don't need to cover that border. It's Daisy. That's interesting. Usually those don't have the same color borders. You get this piece of color border. Okay, not a problem. Yeah, so at this point it's just you didn't solve the logistic problems early enough. The logistic problems are now solved. This is going to be a little bit of a hole building himself out of because he's got a big exposed capital here. But as you can see, at this point, he's now getting 150 metal in a turn. That will make all the difference. I'm not even sure where he's getting the metal in from, but it will make a massive difference. Because that was his problem, is that he's not getting any of the metal. He's now getting 150 in from the stockpile here, 137 a turn. He can basically form up a whole, like 2/3 of a brigade of light infantry every turn, and just needs to get light infantry out, cover all his fronts, and then he can start pushing back. So, a couple turns, we've gone to fix the issue. The big long-term fix here is that we swapped over in Research Council, Economic Council to sealed roads. He has enough industrial power that he can just seal the entire road from SHQ1 to SHQ2, and then he doesn't need SHQ2. He can run the whole thing off of the main SHQ if he has that road sealed. But he wasn't planning on, apparently based on the base stats there, he wasn't planning on doing that. And it would have been quite a while to get around to it, so I've just popped in. That's what you needed to fix. You need to nationalize the truck station in the capital. Don't put truck stations right next to each other. You get the effects of the best truck station usually in the area. So if we come look at truck stations, we can see level 1 truck station provides 800 truck points. If you build 2, they'll try to do different jobs. They won't apply to the same area. So if you build 2, you're not getting 1600. You get 800 in area A, you get 800 in area B. So in the scenario where you have them both next to each other, they're not going to work as if they're 1600 to do distance. You build more truck stations when you need more action points, right? So this one right here on the border, that's not a dumb thing to do. This is, now that it's working, going to provide logistics all the way down here. In fact, at this point, I don't think he even needs this to be a second SHQ. He could have turned, now that I've made sure that this one is controlled by this zone, and this one's now in supply. He can merge this zone into the first SHQ and operate as one supreme command, which would simplify the logistics a little bit. The logistics out here is still going to be bad because he hasn't sealed the road, but he could totally do that. So the big one was nationalize the the capital. Make sure the roads out of the capital can be secured, which I've done by punching a bunch of line infantry out. Basically fixing the metal long enough to punch a bunch of line infantry out. I've turned this into a zone. If you're recruiting colonists, that's what you should be doing. You should be shoving them into zones. You shouldn't be holding on to them. I believe it's the first... I forget it's the first 5,000 or the first 50,000. Provide income to the zone in the form of the hidden economy. I've got to figure out what the hidden economy is shown on here. Oh, he's got 30% income tax, so he should be getting decent income. Oh, we need to authorize a thing here. It's fine. Hunger's going up because they're not rich enough. But yeah, there's a certain number of jobs in this. Well, this one basically doesn't have any zones. Let's see if we can see the capital if we can find it quicker. Everything's going up. Everything's going up. There we go. Hidden economy. So you're getting 43 credits here from the hidden economy. That's one way to make money appear in the game. It's basically one of the ways the game prints money. In this new zone, right? This new zone that we've made it barely has over 2,000 people. It's making 5 credits of money from thin air, right? So get your colonists deployed. If you're collecting colonists, use them. Don't hoard them. Make sure your logistics are done. While it can be very effective not to nationalize your truck stations, because when you don't own them, you don't pay the fuel for them. Nationalizing them almost doubles their productivity, right? So we've nationalized the one here, and the logistics are significantly improved. So yeah, at this point you can probably run everything under the same SHQ. It's just getting enough troops out now to cover the front lines, and then you can start to do the attrition pushback. Because a lot of these troops are probably not. Warmongers here are 64, 50, 56s. And his troops are better than them, right? So mono a mono, his troops are better. He has the industry once his logistics are solved that he's not going to have a problem pushing it back. So that's the first save. Again, maintaining security around the capital here so we can get the shipping in and out was really all that's holding him back here. So I'll do a quick save of this in case he wants me to send over the save. I haven't really done very much, and he's seen everything. You'll be able to see everything from this video, but and then let's load up the second save, because I do know that he, at least in this emergent situation, has solved the issue. Let's see. Well, I say solve the issue. Was able to keep going, right? So much as I was able to keep going there, he was able to keep going there. So let's jump to his next one. Let's jump into the next save and see. So this is in theory the next game. The previous one was turn 67, so this is turn 91 we're going to open up here, where he's fighting supply. On the last one, I was the one who brought up... so I'm not even sure if I brought up showed operational. I think I brought up showed operational. This is he had it or he turned on. Let's see his currents. He's got nothing going through here. Why does he have... Like, there's a connection through there. Why is there nothing going through there? Because this truck station isn't working. This truck station isn't working because it's in a zone in the SHQ. And there's only problems with the SHQ. Why is there problems with the SHQ? SHQ has loyalty problems with the workers, so the workers are probably not showing up to work. Okay. And he did complete those 2 truck stations. Remember I deleted one of those, right? So we decided to say we didn't really actually need that one. That one's not necessary. Because you don't need duplicates so close together. And then we look at bottlenecks. Yeah, he's got a bottleneck going through here. Did he ever get around to nationalizing the... Nope. So there you go. He nationalizes that, he doubles the output from that one. And that appears to be where his problem is, right? So this one's working, but this one isn't... This one's being throttled. Only 4 logistical points were available, 96 production down. At this point, he's got too many stuff to not own this truck up. He needs this truck up. And he doesn't have sealed roads yet, by the looks of it. He didn't go for sealed roads. Oh, he's now researching sealed roads. So I would have done sealed roads earlier. So sealed roads plus nationalize that truck hub, and I think he would have been fine. So that's what his problem is, right? He doesn't have the truck hub. So if you own this, that would double the throughput. Seal this road and this truck hub by itself. As we say, it's 50 truck AP and 600 and 400 base. It's being increased. So he's so good at doing logistics that he's got an inferior asset working 50% better. This one's basically not functioning because it's not getting any logistics. We solve that logistics here, that solves the logistics here, which solves the logistics here, which means he's got logistics all the way out to here. And this logistics is what's causing this bottleneck, so it's almost all not owning that truck up. Can we? Well, we knew from before that back when he was declared on, okay, he was going to have a lot of hard time, but he could sell his way into 500 money. And yes, we can just do that. Sell the money off. The zone's not going to like this, but this helps with the logistics. This helps with logistics. Nationalize that truck hub. At this point, it's not worth making foreign affairs, so we'll do none here.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
No new orders. He might have gone with a particular order this turn, I'm not sure. Why is he still playing? He's won already. Like, he's still having logistics issues because he's trying to conquer the whole world, but at this point, he's won. He's just suffering logistics issues because he's trying to play to, like, total world victory. Yeah, let's just cycle the turn and see if that solves the logistics issues. I think that will... Pushing that one button and then cycling a couple turns should solve all the logistics issues, because we just doubled the throughput of his logistics. Okay, he's having worker issues. So let the happiness get out of control. So this is one of the problems that you can run into when you're working. Okay, so we're now getting more here, we're getting more here. Logistics haven't issued out far enough there to do anything there. Oh, and you're not at war with those guys. Why do you have guys down here if you're not at war with them? Doesn't really have enough to control that pocket. This is a potential problem point. Let's pull back, hold a more defensive position. Having logistic issues. Oh, I guess maybe he had rebels took the city, so the rebels broke free. Okay. But yeah, so as we can see back from the first one, he let the logistics issues get out of control in his expansion. And he's still technically winning here. So sometimes I would recommend taking the W and move on to the next game. So he's in the third save, and we can load up. Right, this is by default game status. Victory score higher than 80? Oh, I guess I just haven't played on planets this small before. Most of the planets I play on the victory score is 50, which are mid-sized planets. Because this was a moon, it might be smaller. It might be a change for the moons. Okay. But yeah, if he was on a normal-sized planet, he probably would have won already. Anyway, see he's at war with the major. And we can see that the logistics has improved. It's not great. But then that's because he's having problems getting workers to show up. Because he's let the workers get too unhappy. Having enough food, having appropriate remuneration, high unrest, high fear, or high danger. Is there a garrison in the city? There's not a garrison in the city. He's got units within 4 hexes of the city. That's why they're scared. But yeah, as we saw in the last one, because this is just a continuation, he's focused mostly on expansion, and which was showing that he could probably expand from that situation. But you can see some things like he hasn't taken this hex. I turned this truck station into a new city, just to deal with his colonists. He's still sitting around with 2,700 colonists. Those should get spent. He's sitting around with 20,000 personnel. They should either be deployed or they should be returned to the capital to serve his population in the capital. The difficulties here, and the difficulties here in many ways are actually harder to deal with because they're worse. Even though he's in a much technically better game state from a victory score standpoint, the difficulties here are worse because the problems get out of hand. But the big problem was the truck station wasn't owned. And now that it's owned, at this point he's controlling enough territory. He probably really wants to be on 2. He doesn't want to be on 1 anymore. He wants 1-2, which he couldn't upgrade because he didn't own it. But then you just come in here and you just upgrade it. And again, you can see jumping from level 1 to level 2, that increases the workload, right? It's by basically 2. Let's say it doubles the workload. But you get triple the output, right? So if you can maintain having the workers, and to some degree he already is, right? He was already saying, hey, I want to have 3 truck hubs in the same city. It would almost, well, in this case, this is for action points, right? So, yeah, these are probably too close together. They're too close together because he's on dirt roads. If he was on sealed roads, which he could have probably researched by now, because we're on 92, right? So if he, back when we were in the first save, if he had started sealed roads, he'd be done by now, and he could have the whole thing sealed. Instead, he's got a bunch of army, bunch of territory, and logistic issues because he hasn't sealed the roads. But I think that's solvable. Let's go look at the last one. I think the last one, I would not be surprised if the last one was exactly the same, where he just didn't, he hasn't taken control of his main truck station. And this one's 95, so this is only 4 turns later. If anything, I think he's probably better at the tactical combat than I am, because some of the states where he was in, I wouldn't have fared as well. But on the other hand, okay, so he declared war to take a city back, which wasn't maybe a good idea. He's got more rebels because he hasn't kept city happiness under control. Hasn't kept either city happiness or governor happiness under control. But yeah, you can see if this was a normal planet where victory was at 50%, he'd won. Technically, this is, I think, the moon class, the smallest class. You have to control a greater percentage of the planet, just so you don't accidentally win, because they're so small and the population centers are fairly far and few. Again, big exposed front here. He's got lots and lots and lots of motorized, mechanized guys, which is probably hurting his fuel, making it hard to maintain his logistics. He'd be so much better off with a bunch of body blocking light infantry. And he doesn't own the truck hub still. He hasn't nationalized the truck hub. And yeah, we could just pop in here and say, hey, we need that truck hub. Sell enough rare earth metals to afford the truck hub. Own it, and then if he has the workforce to work it, double the throughput out of the capital. And once again, it's bottleneck of stuff coming out of the capital. That's affecting all those logistic assets. This logistic asset's operating at like 30% because it's not getting logistics from the capital, which means it can't supply logistics, which means it can't supply logistics to the next one, which means it can't supply logistics to the next one. The hard thing often with logistics in the game is once you get behind the 8-ball, the lag in the logistics system can sort of really make it hard to get back under control, right? So that very first save he sent me, other than maintaining the roads around the capital, all you need to do is nationalize that truck hub. Nationalize this truck hub. And it might very well be, in this situation, all he needs to do is nationalize that truck hub. I'd probably recommend nationalizing that truck hub and upgrading that truck hub. And doing what he can to hold all the fronts without attacking, while reaping the benefits of the nationalization. But yeah, so that's the problem. In this case, you can see his metal started to come back up. So he's managed to secure his metal supply long enough that really the issue is he doesn't have the truck hub. If he had the truck hub, he'd probably have enough logistics that he could have spanned out enough infantry to cover all the fronts, because he's obviously not having a recruiting problem. He is having a worker recruiting problem, because his workers are unhappy. Because he isn't paying them. Presumably because he's having to spend so much money importing food and stuff to meet the military, that's a problem. And again, he has colonists. He's collecting 100 colonists a turn. Doesn't seem like he's spending them. I don't know where he's getting them from at the moment. He's getting them from the capital. He doesn't have the logistics to send them anywhere but the capital at the moment. So yeah, don't collect colonists and soldiers you don't need. But yeah, so I think I showed how I would have gone about doing it on that first turn. I might have, in hindsight, there's a pocket down here, big troops around. I might have actually pulled guys off that pocket to try to screen the capital. Or actually, I suppose here it would have been around here. To screen the capital a little bit better, so we don't lose the road, which would have helped get it going faster. But I think that's really what he needed. He needed to nationalize, and arguably still does, even in this late save. He needs to nationalize this truck hub. You can get away sometimes without nationalizing the truck hub if you build a truck hub on one of the hexes next to your capital. Basically, so you can ignore the existing one, right? So if you're money poor, but you're metal and industrial points rich, which are until this save, well, in this save he has an industrial point problem, right? So he's either been metal poor or industrial points poor. What he's really rich is he's got a lot of rare earth metals because he's not spending them. So he should just come in, dump 100 something on the table, nationalize his truck hub to double its effectiveness. Then that pushes into the network and helps him fix lots of problems. In the long run, if you can stabilize everything, improve the truck hub. Another thing you can do is he was about he doesn't control it right now. He's lost it over here. Talos. He was about 200 action points away on regular roads. Sealed roads, he'd be about 100, which is about fine. But that is a long distance to go off a truck. I'd probably run a rail line. So we just run a rail, and he does already have that. He has rail, right? You start with rail. It's metal expensive, but if you can solve your metal problem, you can solve your industrial power. You can run rails places. Right, you can't afford it right now, but there's definitely a scenario where, like, the first time I loaded up, I showed you how I would solve that situation. As that situation improved, once he built up enough brigades that he could cover all his fronts, happily running a rail down to Talos would have worked, and he could have merged everything into one SHQ, had a rail running back between his two main cities, and easily probably held from that position. And this position, because he was green in everything except for metal, basically at that point. Now he's red in everything because he's got lots and lots of stuff all over the place, and it might actually self-solve itself if he can hold all the fronts, improve the logistics, and the big thing here, at least the biggest improvement he can score with a single button push. Okay, be two because he'd have to sell metal, but the biggest improvement he can improve with two button pushes is nationalize this truck hub, because it would double the base output from this truck hub. He'd have to pay the fuel for it, but he didn't have a fuel problem then. He'd have to pay the wages to the workers, but within reason, he didn't really have a wage problem yet. And he's got lots of motorized units around. So these motorized units, what are these? These are motorized independent MGs. Or mechanized MGs. So these aren't cheap. So these are, for one of those tacks, costs an entire brigade. You can cover 5 tiles with basically the same effectiveness with non-mechanized units. He doesn't have enough front coverage necessarily to hold all his fronts, and that's because he's paying a premium. He's paying for a single unit that costs 5. And for a lot of the front holding, he doesn't need a single unit. He needs 5. Right, so definitely a situation where he's doing for what he's saying. This is like a second game. He's doing really, really well, but the big missteps is he didn't nationalize the truck hub in the capital. There are ways you can work around not nationalizing the truck hub in the capital. For example, I don't know if he built this truck station. We know he built one here. Potentially built one here, right? We know he built more. But if you're having logistic problems right out of the capital, you need to either improve the truck hub in the capital, which means you need to own it, or you need to build right next to the capital. He's building way out where he's building out where he has the problems, but he's having problems out here because he hasn't solved the source of the problem, which is the capital. Which is understandable, right? Once you understand the systems, like, why is he having issues using this truck station? Well, this truck station has logistic issues. Why does this truck station have logistic issues? Because he doesn't have enough to get through the first couple hexes. So if we can fix the first couple hexes, then this truck station works, which means everything beyond this truck station. So this truck station can help this truck station work, which can help this truck station work, which can help the rest of the truck stations work. But that means the source of the problem is this truck station. Which looks working, because it is working. But it's not working well enough, so it needs to get nationalized so it can get upgraded, so it can support the rest of the truck stations. But yeah, I think that's the video. I hope I'll try to edit this down a little bit, but I'll probably post the unedited version as a unlisted but public video, so you can get the feedback going. He is doing really well. There's definitely some situations where if I didn't have the experience I had, like if we go back to that first save where he had a big unexposed border and a really exposed capital. If I didn't have the experience I'd panic in that situation and probably quit the game. Somehow he bounced back from that into a state which in earlier patches he'd won. Let's be fair. In earlier patches he won the game with his horrible logistics because he didn't know to nationalize the truck hub. Current patch on moons it's not enough to win, but in earlier patches he won. He'd done a really good job on everything except for understanding how the logistics work, and apparently understands how the logistics work enough to get this far into the game, which is really good. Not to harp on him, but he did a really good job. The only thing he's missing is just nationalize this truck hub, seal the roads, nationalize the truck hub, seal the roads, and you're gonna have a lot less issues. And then if you continue to have issues, what needs to happen is probably this truck hub needs to improve. Because 100 action points on this truck hub on sealed roads can basically support the entire logistics network. So then you just need to upgrade the truck hub, upgrade the truck hub, upgrade the truck hub. Truck hubs that you own, and so not privately owned, but that you own, don't have a level max. You can take them all the way up to full. You can keep building them. Right, so this is level 1, but you can build them all the way up to level 9. Provide 30,000 base truck points. And he's struggling because he's using 600. So there's a lot of potential logistics in here if you just nationalize this truck hub. And that's knowing how to balance the resources here is something that you learn with experience. So he's doing really well. But yeah, that's the thing. I'd probably do more truck hubs. I'd probably run less motorized and mechanized forces. And I'd be running less motorized and mechanized forces because he has a petrol problem, because he's running too many. Whereas infantry eat food and shoot bullets, so they're easier to supply. And they're easier to supply on low logistics as well. Because they have better entrenchment bonuses, so they're less likely to get attacked. If they're less likely to attack, they're less likely to use bullets when you're not ready for them to use bullets, and thus they provide less logistical drain. Because we come into a unit like this one. This is an independent MG battalion. Resource-wise, right? This is 300 guys, so it's going to eat 3 food a turn. So if it's not shooting, it only needs 3 logistics to support it. If it starts shooting, this is going to blow through like half its ammo in a turn. So it's going to blow through 77 ammo a turn. And that's if it's attacking or defending. If it's doing both, it'll blow through the whole 144. So you can see the logistics requirement of a unit can balloon 50 times if it's deep in combat. So often having logistically efficient units just to body block can be very useful, so you can focus on having logistically heavy units, like say these mechanized units, carry out offensive maneuvers. So we've got lots of really large exposed areas that would be better off held with light infantry, and then focus on a minority of high-quality units. Granted, he's apparently doing really well with his minority of with his small number of high-quality units. I think he'd just probably perform a little bit better if he had some light infantry in to tar pit in the fronts where he's not ready to carry out attacks. He's gone and he's garrisoned to the capital. I would have probably done that earlier. From earlier, we realized this one got independent because he didn't have a garrison. That's probably why this one got overrun. He didn't have a garrison. He doesn't have this one garrisoned, which is an issue, but not one we can't necessarily fix for him right now, but he probably fix for himself. And again, he has colonists, so I'd be working on trying... if I were recruiting colonists, the whole reason I'd be recruiting colonists is to build colonies, like here. Because again, if you're having money issues, one way you can generate more money, if we come in here to private economy, you tax the private economy, so the bigger you build up the private economy, the more taxes you can get off of them. And the private economy gets its initial baseline money from the hidden economy, which is a certain number of people per zone. So the more people you can get, I think the number caps out at 50,000. So the first 50,000 people you can put any place is free money. So you just, if you're worried about money, make lots of 50,000 large colonies. So if you're recruiting colonists, that's what you're doing, is you're trying to make colonies, or you're trying to fill up cities. For one reason or another, people frequently don't pull colonists from the capital, because often you want to bring people to the capital because many of the buildings that are capped by the zone level are exponentially better as you level them up. Right, we can see jumping from the first command bunker to the second command bunker quadruples the political power bonus, but it only costs 3 times the workers. So you get more output from your workers by upgrading it, and you get more output per worker upgrading it. So you want to upgrade these as deep as possible, so it makes sense to upgrade your zones as at least the zones you're going to focus on. The zones you want to be really careful about defending as quickly as possible. So you often don't... Well, it's usually one of the zones you want to hold, so you often don't recruit colonists from the capital for that reason. But if you are recruiting colonists, then you should be spending them. You should be investing them in new colonies. And then, while it doesn't make sense to have recruitment manpower pools, you still don't really necessarily want really large pools. So he's got enough for 3 brigades. 3 full brigades of light infantry in manpower. For my healthy buffer, I'll often keep around about 1 brigade worth. He's got 3, which is 3 times the food. You are having to feed these people, right? So each 100 people in the field, you're paying, or you're feeding them 1 food a day. Right, so this unit out here is got effectively 100 people in it. Mechanized units, technically, there's less people in mechanized units, so you're feeding them less, but each of these 100 people is 1 food. So he's paying 168 food for people to sit around doing nothing. So one thing he could be doing is he could be, again, dumping this in the capital. Dumping the surplus ones in the capital when he has need. Or deploy them as light infantry brigades to cover the front. So he's got the picket forces to form picket brigades. But yeah, no, he's done really well. He hasn't played quite the way I would do. He's played very, presumably very tactical with high quality units. Maybe a lot of his struggle is coming from that, right? I'd probably be doing a little bit more tar pitting with light infantry. And then he's done really well, given the fact that he's severely hampered himself by not taking possession of the initial truck hub in the capital and not upgrading that truck hub. Because he could, if he took control of it and upgraded it, that would be like a doubling times a tripling, so he'd have like 6 times more logistics to play with. And with 6 times more logistics, he would not have a logistics problem at this point. He doesn't have enough forces to have a logistics problem. And then if I were to go a step further, so if you had that, the next thing to do, because he is pushing the logistics limit because of how far across he is from Avalon here to Talos. That would be a line which would probably warrant putting railroad down it. And then using the logistics from the railroad, if we go look at the railroad, one level of railroad provides 200 train points, or 2,000 trade points. So a level 1 rail station is like the same. Granted, you'll have to have a railhead at the other end, right? You'll have to have a railhead at the other end to get it, but it's the same as a level 2 truck station. And they stack. Right, so that means he would have basically an entire spine of logistics down the middle of his empire, where if he needs to, he can just run brigades up and down via strategic movement real quick to guard the whole front. And then he could potentially get away with a little bit of higher quality units instead of the lower quality units he's using. But yeah, he's given not understanding that he needs that truck station, he's done real well. So with that, I think I should probably stop rambling because I've rambled on for an hour. I think in the first one we showed how you would solve the problem back at his first save. And his other saves, it's kind of the same solution, but with a deeper hole. He found the hole that is the logistics bankruptcy hole, logistics debt hole, and he's been digging and digging and digging. If you can solve it from ready, set, go, it's a lot easier to not be trying to dig yourself out of the hole if you didn't dig the hole first. But that's where he is. He's in the hole. And he's done a really good job for digging himself into a hole. He'd probably dig himself out of it. So with that, I hope everyone who's watched this has been enjoying it. I'll try to edit the rambling down a little bit for our public release version. But with that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. And catch you all in the next video. It won't be a follow-up to this one, but it'll probably be a different another video up. So with that, bye for now.